My movie.
Indian Summer. Frognerparken.
Home.
Lars von Trier.
Complicated feelings. Genius.
Confusion. Presence.
Exhaustion.
I think there's a big ambivalence in this character from the first picture. Whether he feels that life is worth living or not. I don't think he has decided. I think he has lots of hope and things in his life that he really wants to live for, but he is in a crisis, and obviously there's another option.
One of the questions the film asks is, where does Anders come from? How has he become who he is? And I don't, in the film, want to answer those questions completely. I want to ask more questions than answer them, I think, with that. There's something interesting and paradoxical. Oslo is a very, very resourceful city in a way, financially. You know, there's a big middle class. It's got quite a strong economy. I grew up in the sort of, what I like to call the cultural ghetto of Oslo, which is sort of a bourgeois, class of people who have a lot of choices, and there's a lot of pedagogical talk around how to bring up kids in the perfect way and stuff. Everyone wants to be an artist. I've seen a lot of people get very lost in a place like Oslo, and I've often wondered why everything should be so perfect, and then people are so unhappy sometimes. So I think Oslo is an interesting place to ask sort of existential questions. They can become quite pure because we can't really blame any socio-economical reasons, any big conflicts in society for our despair sometimes. I think there are similarities. Anders fortunately does not have depression or drug problems in real life, but he is a very intelligent person who is rhetorically very strong. And when I have not arguments but discussions with him, it's not very easy to get the shovel under him, and to make him see things differently. He's a very smart guy, and I was very curious to explore, with such an intelligence, if he had gone really dark and I would want to try to help him, how would I do that? That would be quite slippery. He's a hard guy to convince. So I think it's an interesting thing. I'm kind of tired of portraits of people who are just victims to situations or others, or drug addicts who are victims of society. That can be the case, but they are also humans. They're also people with friends and complex issues. An old friend of mine who was a heroin addict for 8 years and is fortunately now living a very different and very good life. He had practical problems. He needed the drugs, but he was working. He was a resourceful guy. A lot of people didn't know about it. Some of us did, and we tried to help him as best as we could. But I'm tired of these cliche portraits of stereotypical street junkies. We know about that. Those stories should be told as well, but we know them, and there are many of them. So I wanted to kind of take that a different place.
I don't have the kind of problems that this character has. At all, but I think maybe we come from the same cultural middle class background. There's a sequence in the film where he's telling about his childhood and how his parents raised him, and I can very easily identify with every sentence in that voiceover. But at the same time, there's a part of his psychology I can identify with, but he's a much more arrogant he's a much more arrogant person than I am, I hope. Or he has this kind of pride, which is a big problem for him, and maybe one of the reasons why he can't completely recover from his drug problems.
These are very personal issues that we're dealing with in this film. You know, how do you deal with, you know, you have your life, you're sitting at home and you're worried about paying a bill or a fight you have with your girlfriend or something, and then one day someone knocks on your door and it's an old friend that has real issues of sort of profound issues of whether he wants to continue go on living or what's his way forward. How do you answer those questions? How do you deal with that person on that day? I've been in that situation, and this is a film made also about the people we weren't able to bring with us, you know, and sort of sad stories that stuck with me about people that somehow either I've lost contact with or lost completely, you know. So I don't know, it's personal stuff, and I'm exploring it. I wanted to document a city and a character more than anything. I don't believe that I need to have, as a filmmaker, to have sort of a mission to explain something completely. By observing in a hopefully nuanced way, we can share a discussion, an audience and a filmmaker. I'm interested in that.
It depends on how you interpret the scene. If you think that this is a very conscious decision from this character, maybe some people would find it or think that that's cliche, but I personally don't think that.
I never think in terms of cliches. I think in terms of what I want to say, and then maybe I'm a big cliche. So that's really tough. I don't know. No, it's good.
That's okay.
We managed to do five questions in 30 seconds. That's well done.